It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories are watching this Tuesday, March 18. The Department of Justice will now represent government officials in the consolidated habeas corpus petitions filed by former President Duterte's camp. The DOJ submitted its comment to the Supreme Court yesterday. Earlier, the Office of the Solgen declined to participate, citing a conflict in its prior position that the ICC has no jurisdiction over the Philippines.
Solicitor General Minardo Guevara says it is up to President Marcos to decide whether he should remain in office or not. He maintains, and by that I mean Guevara maintains, that his recusal from the Supreme Court petition was an institutional decision and not personal. He also insisted there was no conflict of interest despite his former role as Justice Secretary under Duterte. Malacanang, however, urged Guevara to reassess whether he deserves to remain as Solicitor General. The Bureau of Immigration said former Mayor Alice Guo and former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque likely used the same illegal exit route through Tawi-Tawi to escape the Philippines. Commissioner Joel Anthony Viado confirmed that Roque had no official departure record and was spotted in Tawi-Tawi before reappearing in the UAE. Both fled while facing charges connected to Pogo-related activity.
And MRT3 General Manager Oscar Bongon has been relieved from his position after an escalator malfunction left at least 10 commuters injured. Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon says the delay in repairs and the lack of urgency from MRT officials prompted the management shakeup. He has yet to announce Bongon's replacement, but has ordered an extension of MRT3's operating hours. And of course, joining us today is Storycon's resident political pundit, Tito Rol Llamas.
Masarap pakinggan niyo, of course.
Of course, because you're...
Well, that's a very tame introduction, Tito.
Babawi ako mamaya pag hindi.
Okay.
Muebuelo pa.
And from the Philippine Star Editor-in-Chief, Ami Pamintuan. Hi, Ami.
Hi, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Napaka-aliwalas ng kulay ni Ami. No? Parang
pink.
hindi makakabasag pinggan. No? Di ba?
Yung parating bungad mo, ha?
Oo nga, stop commenting on her clothes.
Napaka-aliwalas, di ba?
Hindi kayo nakaitim eh. Para kayong
hindi mo
naluluksa.
napapansin.
Para ako yung konting kulay dun.
Oo.
Diba?
You're the color.
Yan. Parang hindi ka magagalit. Diba? Yung ganyan eh.
Okay. In case you guys haven't noticed, 7 days na since that historic arrest of Rodrigo Duterte.
Yeah,
it was exactly 7 days ago.
Is
when
that
we were
happy
sitting
anniversary or
right
lonely
here.
anniversary?
Hindi, I'm just marking it. Like, it's been 7 whole days since the arrest. We were sitting right here talking about it. At that time, may Gulf Stream na sa Villamor pero hindi pa natin alam if aalis siya. And now we know. And here we are.
Ay, hindi, at this particular time, Ronald was saying na alas 5, alas yan, to take off yan.
Parang walang gusto maniwala eh.
Hindi naman alas 5 eh. It became 11 eh.
Kulang sa papeles.
Sabi mo din, hindi siya babalik from Hong Kong. Ay, bumalik naman.
Kulang sa papeles. Tapos na naglanding sa Dubai, wala namang visa.
Yung lahat daw ng dadaanan na airspace, kailangan ng clearance ng bansa.
Yes.
Biglaan yung pagkuha
it's not a commercial flight eh.
Yung AES Challenger.
Kaya natagalan.
Biglaan yung pagkuha kaya walang papeles. Tapos yung mga kasama sa aeroplano, walang visa pala. Kaya natagalan sa Dubai.
Naging emergency, they were given emergency visas, no? Yun. So,
Naghanap pa sila kung sino magbibigay. Dubai yun.
grabe. And it's been crazy since. Kasi every day we're chasing new leads, new storylines. Today, we know that si Duterte signed off on the British-Israeli lawyer Nicholas Kaufman as his lead defense counsel. Kagabi lang yan.
Si Gretchen nga, lagi naghahabol
Si BP Sara daw, hindi na magiging legal counsel.
Medyo nakakatawa yun. Yung in-announce mo publicly na si Vice President ay magiging legal counsel para lang makadalaw sa presidente. In-announce
Kaya
mo
nga eh.
publicly. Merong criteria ang legal counsel para sa ICC.
Yeah.
Hindi naman
Oo
yun
nga.
yung kwan dito yung mga piskal dito na pwede mo kausapin, di ba?
Where there's a will.
Siguro
Dito kasi
nasabi na
where
ni
there's a
Harry
will.
Roque sa kanya na, ay, hindi pwede yan. Kaya
Nagulat
ganun.
ako ron. In-announce mo na magiging counsel para lamang makapasok. Parang Pinas na Pinas no? Yung cut corners, di ba? Yung cut corners para...
I don't know that they're cutting corners. They're just trying a few things is how I see it. Alam mo yun? Parang,
Being
okay.
extremely generous.
Pwede sa
Sui
Pilipinas.
generis. Remember,
Pwede
sui
sa
generis.
Pilipinas yun, pero sa ICC, sa ibang bansa.
Okay,
hindi
you're
mo-
trying a few things kasi she is family member, she is
Doesn't
a
want to
high-ranking official.
the daily application.
Yung email, they have to
Which is
email.
exactly cutting corners, no?
They have
Parang
to email.
para mo lang malampasan yung rules nila, gagawin mo ito. Ang problema, in-announce mo publicly.
But anyways, just for the record, hindi siya pwede maging counsel because she's not allowed to practice her profession.
That's
That's
Article
the
7, Section 13.
as
of
a
the
vice
Constitution.
president, she's not allowed to practice.
The president, the
her
vice president,
profession.
and members of the cabinet are not allowed to practice any other profession.
Pero si Robin Hood Padilla, pwede ba siyang bumiyahe dyan officially?
Well, they're in recess, so technically she's
bakasyon
on
yan,
break.
bakasyon.
Oo.
Hindi, pero kahit recess ka,
Yeah,
pwede kang
kahit
humingi ng...
recess, you have to get the
permission.
Travel
Yeah.
authority.
Oo,
Yeah,
tsaka
authority.
pwede kang kumuha ng pamasahe sa office mo. Yun ang mga tanong. Yan ba, yung
Hindi daw
official?
siya humingi ng pamasahe, that's a private trip, sabi niya.
Yan.
Private
Oo.
trip, kaya hindi daw yata kailangan ng kung private eh.
Oo.
Hindi kailangan ng permit ni Cheese.
Ay, kailangan. Kailangan yon, Ami. Kahit private.
Kailangan pa
Oo,
rin.
lahat.
Kailangan eh.
Kapag gano'n, limited yan, di ba? Limited kasi, remember, may timeline, June 2 yung timeline opening nung ano eh. Sabagay, uuwi at dito dahil mag-election.
Well, kasi although it's a private trip, you still are a senator of the land. So may
Official
prerequisite
yun,
you have to get
official.
you have to get the authority pa rin.
Pwede kang harangin sa Bureau of Immigration kung wala ka ng permit
Oo,
na yan.
di ba?
Bureau of
Pagka
Immigration.
officials,
Pag nagbigay ka sa Bureau of Immigration na mahigit 1 milyon, sabi nung South Korea na nakatakas eh. Nagbigay daw siya ng milyon-milyon.
Grabe naman, 1 milyon.
Yung testimony niya ngayon sa House.
ang laki ng 1 milyon.
ng Bureau of Immigration.
Alam
Kaya
ko.
nga pareho nga daw yung pinagdaanan yata ni Harry Roque sa ni Alice Go.
Alam
Hindi
ko,
pwede
Hindi rin
Pasilas
alam
na
ng
lang.
Bureau of Immigration.
alam ko 50 mil, pwede na eh. Tatakbo na eh. dati yung mga pastillas,
Million plural eh.
So
Oo,
yung-
totoo.
dati amin yung
Sinabi ng
pastillas,
Korean.
di ba? Yung pastillas investigation, 20,000 lang yun eh. Yung nakakalusot yung
talaga?
mga Chinese.
Per POGO
Per-
worker.
Oo, per POGO
Pero
worker.
syempre it adds up kasi there are
Per POGO worker.
thousands
Hindi
of them.
magpangkap ka na POGO worker. Para mas mababa.
But ito nga, this is a second black mark on the BI, the fact that we know
Yeah.
now at this point na nakatakas, most likely Harry Roque escaped through the same route as Alice Go. Di ba it was so embarrassing already when they found out that si Go was able to escape
Parang
with
walang
her siblings.
na-embarrass.
Oo nga,
May
parang
nakita ka ba na-embarrass?
ako, I feel embarrassed.
Ayun na nga, ikaw,
I mean,
ikaw,
the fact that it happened again. Di ba? Because, I mean, the whole point of all those marathon hearings several months ago was to try to figure out, okay, how can we prevent this from happening again? And it
May
happened
nakita ka
again.
ba ng taga-BI na embarrassed? Yun naman tanong ko.
Tawagin natin
Hindi,
si
sabi
ano.
nila kasi naman, we have 7,000, more than 7,000 islands. Ang hirap-hirap naman daw ipulis. Yun ang sabi nila, isang katerba daw tayong private ports.
Actually, ang Sweden,
Kayang-kayang maglabas ng mga yate, mga speedboat, kayang-kaya nila na walang humaharang, kulang na kulang. Hindi nga natin mapulis yung West Philippine Sea.
actually
Yan pa.
Sweden is 20,000 islands eh. No?
Talaga?
Oh. Sweden is 20,000
Yes.
islands. Pero they don't use that as an excuse para makatakas. It's about,
Oh.
it's about payoffs. No?
It's about payoffs.
It's about payoffs.
Remember, pa saka yung hindi ko alam na tawi-tawi ang si Alice Go kasi ang sinabi niya, they rode
Yeah.
by land to Manila.
Yeah. Yeah.
To Manila, kaya iniisip nga na lahat doon sa Manila Yacht Club na gano'n eh.
Oo.
Sumakay ng yate eh.
Pero kahit tawi-tawi
Doon
kasi
mismo.
ang hirap itago ni Harry Roque. Di ba? Masyado siyang kilala. Wala ko
Pupunta ka doon sa loob ng
ibang
kwarto,
naisip.
I was
Ayan,
waiting for the
Wala
punchline.
makakakita
Wala
sa'yo.
akong naisip pahiwatig. Masyado siyang kilala, di ba?
You know,
Kahit nakatalikod lang si Harry Roque, kilala mo na eh.
Ganun ba?
Talaga ba? Parang I wouldn't recognize him from behind.
Ha?
Talaga?
I think
Talaga?
I would.
You would?
I would.
Oo, diba?
He has a particular,
Ora.
Pwede naman mag-disguise,
physical
ano?
personality.
Pwede mag-disguise.
You can tell a personality from behind.
Si Gretchen
Physical
nga,
personality.
si Gretchen nga, hinabol siya kahit nakatalikod eh.
Oh.
Di ba?
Kasi naman, there's not many people around. So kilalang kilala mo who's walking
Oo
into
nga.
ICC, right?
Anong kinalaman nun? No? Not much people around, therefore makikilala ko siya pag
Hindi,
nakatalikod.
I mean, makikita mo kagad. Okay, who's going in and out? He's
Sa
Asian.
presinto magbaliwanag.
No, because alam ko na yung next. He's gonna insult Harry.
Talaga?
Harry naman. Like, let's not attack
Yung
him.
problema, pag imputing malis ka agad eh.
Imputing malice. This is part of the political
Persecution.
persecution. Sige.
Kaya political
I-document
prosecution,
mo.
kaya nag-asylum na dun sa Netherlands.
Ipunin ko yan.
Masasite ka pa niya, no?
Ipunin ko yan.
Political persecution sa
Ipunin ko yan.
Netherlands.
Sige,
Actually, may mga naghahanda na sa Netherlands na mag-appeal sa Dutch government na hindi tanggapin yung asylum request ni Harry pag ginawa niya.
We also know at this point, Medjaldea said that Duterte was in very high spirits nung nag-meet sila kagabi for an hour to talk about his legal defense. They are expected to challenge the jurisdiction before September 23 before the confirmation of charges hearing. Itong si Kaufman, he's known to be
Highly paid.
apart from that,
That doesn't sound right.
he's had high-profile
Maybe you should
cases
rephrase that.
before. Na-mention na ni Ed before. Yung Pierre Bemba, the former Congolese vice
Bemba.
president. The family of the late Libyan leader, Muammar Gaddafi. And he apparently is an expert in contesting procedural matters, which is exactly what they're going for in this case, the question over whether he was legally, he was given due process in his arrest and his, extradition to the Netherlands.
Ang inaabangan namin ngayon kung ano mangyayari kay Menardo Ibarra.
Actually, lahat nag-aabang eh.
Within the day, within the day.
Yes, yes.
We're waiting for what will happen.
In
It was a
particular,
clear political statement dahil si Claire is practically the alter ego of the president.
Claire Castro.
Claire Castro as
the press officer
spokesperson.
of the
As
the president.
spokesperson. So nung sinabi niya na baka i-consider niya yung kanyang role, no, at saka yung kanyang pagiging solgen, that's a clear message, a political message.
I was looking at book,
Kaya nga nagulat ako sa statement ni Solgen Guevara na this is nothing personal, this is institutional.
Oo nga.
But the institutional role of the Solgen is to represent the government. No, doon ako nagulat na ano yung nuancing na sinabi niya.
I guess it's because he's going by a technicality, right? Which is the government's position has always been ICC no longer has jurisdiction.
Yes, so mas malaki ang basihan para i-represent niya. Dahil yun ang official position ng gobyerno.
Not unless the Soldiers' position is that there was something wrong with what happened. Not unless that's
But
the
that's
case.
Which is also institutional because you're criticizing your own government.
Di ba dapat susuportahan niya kung mag-shift man yan eh. Kung mag-shift yung government, you still have to defend the government. Di ba?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kasi sinasabi niya, for
That's the
consistency,
institutional
sinabi na niya
part.
noon na nagdepensa na daw siya na ICC has no jurisdiction. Eh kung medyo nagbago ng konti, yung gobyerno sinabi, we cooperate through the Interpol, yun ang magiging argumento mo, di ba?
Kaya nga dati pa
Yun ang magiging
sinasabi.
depensa mo sa Supreme Court.
Kaya nga dati
Na
pa
walang
sinasabi yan eh.
jurisdiction, pero we abided by our commitments to the Interpol. Yun ang ng gobyerno eh. Yun ang hindi depensa sana niya.
Actually, vindicated si Trillanes. Last year pa niya sinasabi yan eh. Nakikriticize niya yung statement ng Solgen. Na tingin niya iba sa statement ng DOJ at saka ng Malacanang. Dati pa niya sinasabi last year pa yan na dapat ay hindi mag-inhibit, dapat mag-resign yung Solgen dahil meron clear conflict of interest. Yun ang sinasabi ni Senator Trillanes.
Although, remember, Nung una, na-criticize din si Menardo Guevara kasi sinagot siya. Nung una, inaway siya ni Remulla eh. Kasi sumagot siya sa ICC na ang sabi ni Remulla, that's tantamount to admitting that they still have a jurisdiction over us. Sumagot siya eh. Na-criticize siya at that point. Pero, ayan, bumaliktad ngayon. So, tinitingnan natin kung ano yung final. Kasi, hindi na lang kasi dito sa gobyerno natin sabihin, why don't you resign, ano?
Pinakamalaking contradiction from my vantage point, as hindi naman learned, katulad ni Ed, ay nung 2021, nung nag-request si then Justice Secretary Ibarra sa ICC, nabigyan sila ng
Deferral.
palugit para
Yeah.
ipakita na yung ating justice system ay gumagana. Ibig sabihin, that is a de facto recognition. No? Dahil humingi
Yun
ka
na
ng
nga.
permiso para bigyan ka ng palugit. Tapos after almost a year, binawi ng ICC yung palugit dahil nakita nila wala naman talagang kinasuhan. Diba? So, pero yung act na yon na humihingi ka ng palugit is somewhat recognition ng relasyon mo sa ICC.
Yun na nga. Yun ang sabi
you're
sa kanya
saying-
noon, ng Justice Department. Bakit ka sumagot ng ganyan? Eh, ibig sabihin, you are acknowledging the jurisdiction of the ICC over us.
What was the,
Na-criticize nga siya doon dahil doon.
But
Pero ngayon, ayan na nga, nag-iba na yung sinabi niya, walang jurisdiction ng ICC. Kaya hindi natin malaman, iniintay natin, maybe within the day, we will see something happening.
but what was the alternative at that point in time, in 2021? Kung hindi na lang sila mag-reply.
Hindi, magpapatuloy yung investigasyon.
Kaya nga,
Voto proprio.
So-
dahil ang sabi
so-
ng gobyerno, wala silang relasyon dahil
Right.
umalis na sila.
But at that time, they were trying to buy time. They wanted a delay. They're trying to delay the case.
That's
So
fac-
ano
that's
yung alternative ng government at that point?
That's
If not to make a manifestation that, okay, this case needs to be deferred.
Yeah.
Wala silang choice.
So, aminin mo na may jurisdiction. Dahil malinaw naman sa treaty na pinirmahan natin, kung yung kaso ay nagsimula bago ka umalis, may jurisdiction. At in-affirm yan ng Supreme Court noong 2021. So, tapos, ang statement mo ay walang jurisdiction. Tapos,
But you're asking for a deferral.
yes, yun lang naman sinasabi ko na contradiction.
Ay po, let's bring in our guest for today.
Ay, nga pala, sorry. Daldal kasi ni Reg.
Okay, let's bring in our guest for today. We have IBP former President Attorney Egon Cayosa. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome to Storycon. Welcome back.
Good afternoon, attorney.
Good afternoon, attorney.
Yes, sir. Sir, we're trying to divine what happened with the Solgen. Kasi, okay, layman's thinking, for the longest time we've been thinking na the Solgen basically just lawyers for the administration and for the government and takes the position of government. Now we have a curious case where the Solgen is recusing, still saying he's doing it because this was government's position before. So, is there any nuancing here that we're missing out on? Does the Solgen really have to take government's position, or can it say, no, I cannot?
Can it recuse itself in a very important case like this?
And first, let me just be accurate. The Solgen is not the lawyer of the administration.
Okay, sir.
He is the lawyer of the Republic of the Philippines. Okay, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
one.
Okay, that's important.
With
Yes, sir.
respect to, can he recuse himself from handling these cases? Because according to him, he has taken different positions in the sense that he has argued in the past and up to now that ICC does not have jurisdiction. So recusing yourself is something personal to any lawyer. If by conscience or your considered opinion that you cannot defend a particular position, or in each case, I understand that it appears that he was a long-time partner of Attorney Medialdea. So perhaps that's also one reason. Of course, he's not mentioning it, but he might be also avoiding conflict of interest situation. Okay, but in either case, it is a personal decision. But the fact that the incumbent OSG, Solicitor General, cannot or is unwilling to defend the position of government doesn't necessarily mean that that's the position of the office, the Solicitor General.
Okay,
So,
sir, yes, sir. You're making a distinction between the Solicitor General and the office of the Solgen. In other words,
Yes.
he's the head of the Solgen, the office, pero he may recuse himself, but the OSG can still represent government.
Yes, the OSD continues to represent government. But since this is a very important case, perhaps the one possible logical move forward is after you recuse yourself and you explain your position, which is very marangal for him to do. No? It's a proper thing to do. The next logical step would be also consider letting go of your position
To resign.
you cannot do your job as the Solicitor General.
Yes.
Or
That's
you
exactly
refuse
what we
to
were
do
saying.
your job because of your personal or your earlier statements of position. So that could be the case because
So,
it will also be
attorney,
unfair.
tama yung reaction ng Malacanang. Ang reaction ng Malacanang tinanong nila si OSG can you still do your job?
But I think that's a valid and a fair question because we have to distinguish from our personal position from the official or the position of our position or our office and our job. So if he cannot do it, it might also be proper for him to consider to let go so that somebody else in the office or somebody else who might be placed in his position will be willing and able to defend the current position of government and willing to appear in these actual cases now.
Pero sir, my understanding was that the letter of recusation was presented not as Solgen Guevara's position, but as the OSG's position. Did I get that right?
Of course. Of course, because he's still the sitting Solicitor General. And he speaks for his office. It is also, we also have to understand that he can argue that he's not only the lawyer of the government, but he also lawyers for the whole republic, including the taong bayan. But realistically and practically, he's the lawyer of government and all the officials of government. So yun ang mas distinct na kanyang position. If he cannot do it or he refuses, he could consider that follow-through action of letting go of your office because we also have to think about the fairness to those other bureaucrats and officials being questioned in these petitions filed by the children or the family of the former president. They are also entitled by law to help to the health and service of the Office of the Solicitor General.
When you say that the Office of the Solicitor General can still represent the government without Guevara, how would that work? That means the other solicitors have to be the one to do the paperwork?
Pero klaro yata yung sinabi ng attorney, he should resign. Not, parang ganun, di ba, attorney, yung sinasabi niya?
Well, we don't.
That's the simplest way. The cleanest way is to let go of the position.
But we don't
Because
know.
it will be very messy. It will be very difficult to explain a position where your deputies are appearing and saying something,
And the
but
head.
in public, you're saying something. So, what will be the credibility? Ikaw yung boss nila eh.
Yeah.
So it cannot, you being a Solicitor General cannot also be optional sa mga kaso. Depende yan sa kaso.
Parang halimbawa doon, halimbawa attorney, nung inutusan kami ni Pinoy na magsampa ng kaso sa UNCLOS kung si Hilbay na Soldier nun ay tumanggi, ang logical ay mag-resign siya. Actually, kasama namin si Guevara noon as Undersecretary na Executive Secretary. Kasama siya noon sa UNCLOS. No? Ibig sabihin, kung kami ay tatanggi na mag-file sa UNCLOS, then dapat kami mag-resign. Parang logical lang naman yun eh.
Yes, and it's also marangal din doon. Kagaya nung karangalan sa pag-iisipin, logically din, marangal din yung ibigay mo na lang yung posisyon because hindi naman a matter of right yan. Yung, di ba, ang panumpaan mo, gagawin mo ang iyong trabaho. Kung hindi mo na kaya o ayaw mo or some reasons personal to you, edi ano pang silbi mo bilang public official?
Well,
it will also embarrass to a great extent yung gobyerno mo.
at this point, we don't know if Solicitor General Guevara is resigning or not. So far, he is standing his ground, and the DOJ has taken on the responsibility of defending the government. In your view, Attorney Cayosa, does this weaken the case in any way?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a personal position. The DOJ can take on the role, but let's also consider the fairness of the situation. To those other bureaucrats whose actions were questioned and they cannot seek or depend on the help of the OSU because of the particular situation of the incumbent Solicitor General. Let's remember that Solicitor General Maynard Guevara used to be the DOJ Secretary.
Yeah.
At sila yung nag-argue, nag-request na ICC, i-defer mo na yan. We will prove to you that the justice system is working with respect to the EJ case and the Tokangs. Pinagbigyan sila eh. After close to a year, so lubhang ko konti naman yung nag-progress na investigation ng cases. Kaya nagdesisyon yung ICC. You know, I think it would be foolhardy for the Philippine government or us to keep on questioning the ICC jurisdiction because dumaan na tayo sa proseso eh. Nag-appeal na tayo, nag-argue na tayo sa kanila, humingi tayo ng moratorium. Tapos nung nag-desisyon na hindi tayo pinagbigyan, biglang ayaw na naman natin. Para tayong si China na nag-ano dun sa arbitral tribunal. Kung ayaw niya ang desisyon, itatapon na lang. So saan din naman natin pupulutin ang ating bansa in the international community kung ganun tayo?
Yeah.
Pero ang weird dito,
Pero
attorney,
okay lang ba na, Department of Justice ang magte-take over? Is that within their mandate?
It can be. It can be.
ang medyo weird dito,
Pwede
attorney, ay nag-invoke siya ng institutional. Ito daw ay hindi personal, this is institutional. Which only meant na dinamay niya yung opisina ng OSG. In some government offices, this can be called insubordination. Dahil hindi naman siya ombudsman eh. The ombudsman is independent. Yung OSG is autonomous. Pero siya pa rin ay, mismo siya, inamin niya, yung nag-appoint sa kanya, yung pa rin ang kanyang boss. Iba yung autonomous, iba yung independent.
Pero Tito Ronald, ito EO number 300 of 1987 creating the Office of the Solicitor General, Section 1, the Office of the Soldier shall be an independent and autonomous office attached to the DOJ. It shall continue to perform its functions provided
It's
for
not
by
a
law.
constitutional body like the...
Yeah, it's not.
Iba yun eh.
It's not a commission. Yeah.
Iba yung ibig sabihin ng independence sa kanya. No? Definitely magkaiba.
But sir, baka what this also means when you say independent is that he can have a contrary opinion to what the government
correct.
is putting forward. In other words, baka there's disagreement between the OSG now and what government did last week.
I doubt that. Dahil wala pa ako nakitang ganun na yung OSG kokontrahin mo yung gobyerno mo.
But again, as
Medyo malabo yun,
as Attorney Cayosa is pointing out,
Maybe he's not contradicting. He's just saying I cannot because without saying it, maybe he does not agree.
Pero dinamay mo yung buong opisina mo by imputing institutional decision. Iba yung sinasabi ni attorney na meron kang personal na pag-recuse, which is the logical direction is to resign.
Attorney, what do you think po? Attorney Cayosa.
Attorney.
Yes.
Sorry.
nawala na tayo because of your
Like
argument.
yung discussion yun.
What do you think po? What do you think? Your thoughts?
It's okay. So it is true that under the OSG law, it is independent and autonomous from the DOJ. But you're correct. It's not like the ombudsman or the COA and the other constitutional commissions. Even if it is independent from the Department of Justice, it is still part of the executive branch. At ang boss ng lahat ng ito, ang presidente. That's why siguro, ang sinasabi niya, I'm waiting for signals from Malacanang. Because if Malacanang gives him the signal na, we cannot work with it, just like any other lawyer. If your principal or your client says, well, you cannot agree with him, you don't only recuse, but you let go of the job. So, siguro lang, naghihintay siya ng signal from Malacanang. So, perhaps at this point, the ball is in the hands of the Malacanang. He's not the type naman siguro na kapit ko sa kanyang position. He occupied very high position. And, he doesn't need the conflict at this point.
Di pa ba sapat yung sinabi ng Malacanang, attorney? Can you still perform your mandate? Yan ang tinanong sa kanya. Hindi pa ba sapat yun ang message?
Graceful exit.
Then that is the message from Malacanang. Then he has to privately, perhaps no longer publicly, respond to it. Kung hindi pa rin niya kaya, the decent thing to do really is let go. That's basic for any lawyer, whether in government or in private sector, private lawyers. Yung inaabogaduhan mo, you cannot support their position anymore. You cannot be forced, but you cannot also keep on holding the position as lawyer for that government.
Ito, katext ko siya he agreed to be quoted on. I'm talking about Solgen Guevara.
Among others. Hindi.
Kasi sabi ko sa kanya, your decision will have repercussions, of course. Ganun. Sabi niya, I serve at the pleasure of the president. That's important.
That's a standard holding
correct.
statement.
Yeah.
That's a standard holding
Yeah.
statement. Doesn't tell us anything. So is he waiting to be fired or
Oo.
tanungin mo na,
Tatanggapin niya
total
yung
ka-text
graceful
mo
exit na
Magre-resign ka
offer
ba?
ni Yusek Claire de Castro. No?
Oh, tanungin mo na, Ed. Total ka-text mo. Magre-resign ka ba?
Baka hindi na sumagot Mamaya.
Attorney Cayosa, we haven't spoken to you since this whole thing erupted last week. So backtrack lang tayo for a little bit. And let me ask you about the Article 59 of the Rome Statute, which has come back into debate right now. I thought na-settled na to, pero online there's still a lot of debate about whether or not there was due process given to Duterte, as well as the question of jurisdiction nga. What do you think?
But it is true that there is a particular and clear section in the Rome Statute that says if there's a warrant of arrest from the ICC, the subject of the warrant of arrest is given a chance to go to the local courts to question that or to make sure that his constitutional rights are not trampled upon. The problem with the argument that, we should have followed that forgets the fact that 6 years ago, Pumalas na tayo sa ICC eh. So when we're no longer wala tayong legal basis to cite that particular section. Ang existing law natin ngayon with respect to crimes against humanity and similar crimes, yung RA 9851, which also gives, because a local law, mind you, passed in 2009, it's not a recent law, nauna pa yan. So, it simply says, if there is an ongoing investigation or case in an international body at meron din dito possible of investigation or a case, government can actually decide, just let go and let the foreign jurisdiction handle the case kasi nandyan na sila, and surrender the subject of the case to the jurisdiction of that international body. So, yan ang sigurado. Itong pagka-cite kasi dun sa Rome Statute, conflict dun sa position, ano na tayo dyan 6 years ago, kumalas na tayo. The only residual obligation of the Republic of the Philippines is that duty to cooperate for cases that were investigated or started before we disengage from the Rome Statute or the ICC. That has already been ruled upon by the Supreme Court. Meron tayong residual obligation. All the other provisions, hindi na tayo bound by that. So medyo malabo na i-cite pa natin yun. And seek protection or use that process and claim that process na matagal na natin binasura itong treaty na ito.
Yeah.
Pero sir, I have a question there.
Kung susundin natin yung 9851, walang basis yung sinabi ni ES Medialdea sa ICC na extrajudicial rendition daw yung case ni former President Duterte.
Wala.
Medyo maano yung extrajudicial rendition kasi ang ibig ko sabihin ng extrajudicial rendition, walang kabase-basehan yung pag-aresto sa iyo at pag-dakil at pagdala sa ibang country. Ito kasi may warrant of arrest ng ICC. And ICC is not a rogue institution. It is recognized by 125 countries. So we have residual obligations kahit kumalas na tayo. So meron din tayong obligations sa Interpol. So it may not be exactly accurate to say that.
Pero sir, one question lang from my end. I understand nga dun sa 9851, the phrasing is surrender or extradite the accused to the international body or the other state. I understand extradition, of course, will go through, we still have to go to the courts. Pero what about surrender?
Yes, there's a process for
Yes, sir. Under Presidential Decree 1069. Pero what about the definition of surrender? Does that mean that the government or any administration can just surrender a Filipino citizen to another foreign body without having to go through any judicial process?
That's what the law says. Because surrender does not have a technical meaning. Yung extradition kasi has a technical meaning that's defined by international conventions and our own laws. So, daraan ka sa proseso. Ang surrender, wala ko kasing ganun.
It's more political.
So, decision lang yan ng
Gobyerno.
executive branch.
So that's
clear.
That's pretty unilateral. I mean,
Yes.
That's the power of the executive.
Kaya nga, yung batas na yan ay may element ng pagiging political. No, lalo na kung ang humihingi, nag-issue ng international warrant is the ICC, which is the last
Court of last resort.
Court of last resort. Kaya nga hindi gumagana yung ating system, kaya nga pumunta dyan. Tapos ibabalik mo doon sa system na hindi gumagana, no? Para siya ay hold uli rito. No? So, ganun yung magiging, kaya may element ng pagiging political.
Okay. We've run out of time, though. We'll let you go. Thank you so much for your insights. That was Integrated Bar of the Philippines former President, Attorney Egon Cayosa. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank
Thank you
you,
for this
Attorney.
interaction. Magandang hapon po sa lahat.
Sensya na po, madaldal yung mga katabi ko rito.
You are watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Kami pala yung madaldal.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news and stories behind headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
I'm Regina Lay, still with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star, and Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. No, ayaw na magsalita ngayon, but kanina. No,
Yung pagkakasabi mo kasi parang may certain eh.
may certain. No, we were talking about, ano nga ba? What were we talking about? Hindi pwede on the record.
Well, let me just read that. Kasi ako, I'm still I'm still open to all ideas, including whether or not we went through the proper channels or the proper processes. I mean, I've heard so many legal luminaries talk about them.
Yes.
And yeah, mabigat nga dun sa side. Pero I'm still open to, for example, Professor Alexis Medina, sabi niyo, referring to RA 9851, yung surrender or extradite, ang argument niya, but to surrender a person to a foreign state without court proceedings constitutes a forcible exile of a person from his country of residence, which may amount to outright violation of his constitutional right to liberty of abode. This cannot be impaired without lawful order of the court.
Kung meron kasi...
Pero meron nga nung 9851, Ed eh.
No, yeah,
Yung dun sa
that's what he's referring to
9851, yun yung yun yung pwede na
Surrender.
i-invoke yung pagpapadala na yun.
Yeah, that's what he's referring to. How dun sa 9851, how can you interpret the word surrender? Kasi nga, sabi rin ni Kayosa, there's no definition, there's no legal
technical
definition of
Kaya
surrender.
nga, nasa decision yan ng gobyerno. No?
Political.
Unless mag-file ka sa Supreme
Wala
Court,
naman kayo
i-clarify
nakikita
ano ibig
nagsusurrender
sabihin
na
nun.
dumadampa sa korte.
Pero so far, na walang ganong klaseng
Yeah, so
definition,
it's,
the
uh,
government can use
it's,
its residual powers,
residual
whatever,
powers,
no,
okay.
para sabihin na, ito, binibigay ko na sa inyo.
But I also get Medina's point na unless and until this is clarified, the act of surrendering somebody to a foreign state without court proceedings is something that's
Pero
Goes
that's-
against your-
pero hindi mo pa
your rights as
hindi
a
mo
citizen.
nakita Ed, yung logic
Diba?
na kaya ka pumunta sa ICC dahil hindi gumagana yung justice system mo. Diba? Yun yung kwan eh. Kaya
that's just a matter of kasi here you're looking at the ICC kasi yan, ganun. Ako, I'm looking at it from the point of view na what if it's another tribunal
Ordinary.
that we may disagree with, whose decisions we disagree with. Ito, kung ba, you take
Hindi,
out
kaya nga-
the personalities here, whether the ICC
Hindi.
or what.
Hinihiwalay ko yung ICC as the court of last resort. Kung yan ay isang gobyerno na gustong magpa-extradite,
Another state,
ibang usapin yun. That's apples and oranges. No? Ito kasi ay ICC. The very nature of the ICC is the court of last resort at wala na yung issue ng complementarity dahil nga hindi gumana yung justice system mo. Tapos ang gagawin mo, ibabalik mo ulit sa justice system mo na hindi gumana. In the first place, kaya nga mga dinala sa ICC dahil hindi gumagana eh. Diba? Magkaiba yun. Sinasabi ko, kung merong ibang bansa na gustong ma-extradite, na sabi nga ni attorney, may definition yung extradition. No? Pwede mong gamitin yun.
Extradition talaga malinaw yun eh.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
presidential
It's
decree on that. That's
Yes,
1069.
yes, yes.
At may proseso yun.
Yes,
Extradition, you'll have to go to the courts talaga for
Kaya
application.
mas gawin mo konkreto. Anong international body were you referring to? Is that the ICJ? ICJ kasi ang focus niyan genocide eh. No? Ang ICC ang focus niyan crimes against humanity. So, dapat konkreto anong sinasabi mo na pwedeng malabag yung constitutional rights. Sa ICC kasi the very fact na nasa ICC, ibig sabihin hindi gumagana yung justice system. No? Kaya mo din nila ron eh. No? Kaya hinihiwalay ko itong kasong ito doon sa possible na iba na kaso. Unless, sasabihin mo, ano yung international body na yan na papasok yung ganyang gray area.
And in any case, as Kay also said, there's no technical definition for it. And this is there's the element of politics.
It's a gray area to me then. So it can go either way. Anyway, so you are now learned too.
Hindi naman, semi lang.
Semi lang.
Semi lang. No? Iba yung learned, iba yung semi.
But you know,
I tend to be more liberal about these things kasi.
Hindi lang naman tayo
then boss ko ka eh.
nag-scramble dyan sa mga rules ng ICC. No?
Yeah.
Pati yung legal team ni, pati yung legal team ni
UBET
President
kasi,
Duterte.
how do you get things
Diba?
done?
wait lang.
Duterte solution ka.
Si Ami saying, Ami, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Di ba? Hindi lang naman tayo nag-scramble ngayon doon sa mga rules ng ICC, pati yung legal team ni President Duterte. Di ba?
Which reminds me,
We're
But you
learning
know-
something new every day.
yung kulay ni Ami parang scramble, no?
Oh, di mo, kanina ako lang ang nagpapaliwanag eh. Ngayon, sabi ko,
Alam mo yung scramble, di ba?
Kasi lagi kayo nakaitim. Hindi kayo
nga.
naka-black and white.
Okay,
Maganda
yun,
ng
yun,
kulay
yun,
ng
yun.
screen.
Sa akin
Of
nga,
course, I know. Grabe naman.
sa akin nga, mas maganda, mas positive, maaliwalas. Di ba? Yung maaliwalas.
Oo,
no?
kaya nga,
Tayo mga
magkaroon naman ng kulay
Undertakers.
screen. Tingnan nyo.
Kahit pa lang nung damit natin,
kayo.
yan pa rin itsura natin.
Uy, self-deprecating siya.
Wow.
Wow.
Alam,
Ang hirap
pinapansin
dito.
tayo.
Pag nagbubuhat ka ng sarili mong bangko na wala namang ibang bubuhat, no, mapapagalitan ka. Pag self-deprecating ka naman, uy, drama lang yan.
Susunod. Fishing na naman siya.
Pagbigyan mo na yun,
Ang hirap.
matanda na yun.
Ang hirap dito, hirap dito sa kabalulugar, di ba?
O siya, sige,
Wala
sige.
ka nang- wala
Mag-goodbye
ka nang-
Philippines na tayo at
wala ka nang
tomorrow
TF.
is hump day. O, nandito na lang tayo.
Uy, by the way, we were arguing about the legalities of all of this, pero bottom line is they still can't compel ICC to return Duterte, ha? Even
Yeah.
sila Attorney Torion is
Yeah.
well aware
Yun,
of
medyo
this.
malinaw yun.
There is no law that will allow the Supreme Court to compel the ICC to return Duterte.
Because ICC
So
is against our laws anyway.
Yan, malinaw yun.
that much is clear. So we are just arguing about yung some of the legalities.
Hindi, ang
Pero
pinapakompel nila yung gobyerno natin.
correct.
Nahingin sa ICC. Although yun naman ang sinasabi ng mga abogado, no return, no exchange na yan. Naibigay nyo na eh.
Yun.
Parang SM lang, no?
No return, no exit. Di, SM
Uy,
meron.
meron 30
Kasi,
days.
oo.
So may
Well, depende. May 7 days, may 30 days. Depende sa produkto. Ikaw talaga, no? Mukhang nandun ka sa
7
mga
days na nga, 7 days.
Mga high-end na mga video.
Uy, hindi. 30 days. Mostly 30 days kaya yung return.
Pag makina,
Nagkakasita dito.
pag makina, 7 days lang.
Oh, baka magsaksakan kayong dalawa.
Uy,
Dami ko na nga sugat. Dami ko na sugat sa likod, tsaka tagaliran, no? Dumudugo. Oh.
Pero at least ako, I don't have a hidden Gulf Stream. Yun. Ewan ko lang iba dyan. Merong Gulf Stream na pinapahiram sa...
Meron kang Gulf Stream, ha? Gulf Stream, ano?
Galpa ko ng galp.
Ano daw yan? Ang pag-aari ng isang subsidiary ng isang malaking conglomerate na maraming business with the government.
Yung may-ari ng Gulf Stream 550.
Hindi ko pa sinabi kung sino.
AES.
Ay,
Tawag nila dyan, Challenger AES.
no. I am allowed to say this. Sabi ni Manny Mogoto, who is one of our editors, one of our co-editors on this network, that
Na meron TF.
Huwag ko ng bulong, naka-microphone ka eh.
I'm being told not
Bulong
to
ka ng
say
bulong,
it.
naka-microphone.
Sige, off-cam na lang.
Tapos binulong niya sa akin, pero nandito yung microphone.
Pero we were told, Ami, kung sino yung may-ari. But I don't think we're allowed to say because I'm getting a signal off-cam not to say it. So, anyways.
Iko ka na lang namin.
Hindi
Sign
maganda
language
yung
lang.
ayaw nila sa
Sign
inyo, ha?
language.
It's not good for the government.
Okay, we will
Okay,
leave that
goodbye,
there
Philippines, ah.
on that cliffhanger. Thank
Nagkakagulo tayo
you.
rito.
Thank you for joining Storycon today. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.